When will we admit that social media is the root cause of so many societal, economic, mental and political issues in this country and globally, and why are we all willfully letting it continue?
So that is a massive area. What are the key problems for you?
It seeps into every single kind of aspect of life, like, not to call you out, but like taking a selfie at the start of this to advertise. You know, it's not an issue, but we're here, enjoy it. Like, I'm a musician, and our music gets summarised by how many likes and followers we have on Spotify and Instagram, instead of the value of what we've created. And it's a real shame. And I think we're seeping our willpower to, in a sense, a very small handful of uber-rich people who are just probably laughing at us discussing kind of, to them, trivial things like this. And we're all just wasting our time and having our willpower sold to the highest bidder.
OK, so look, we've got 5 minutes, so you're all going to have to be really brief. And this is your brief, so I appreciate that's tricky for you, Peter. Alex?
So I 100% agree with you. I think that one of the things that has really become so evident to me post-COVID is how much we are lacking connection in society, and we have a loneliness epidemic. You know, Putnam wrote the infamous Bowling Alone in the 1970s about how people were bowling alone, right? So there was the decline of youth clubs and scouts and churches and all that stuff, right? Imagine how much worse it is 50 years on. You know, pubs are closing at a rapid rate. Like, people are lonely and they're dying in their homes from loneliness, and men are committing suicide at the highest rate. And it's because we're not experiencing that connection anymore. And so for me, like, I think it should be addressed. Do I think the government should start legislating? I'm not so sure. But the one thing that I would love you to do for me, Peter, after tonight, is we need to ban social media and smartphones in schools for children. Government meddling, but the reason we need to do that is if you saw a 10-year-old vaping, you would be absolutely appalled, right? Nobody would think that's fine, but yet we see 10-year-olds scrolling like this. And if we want societal change, we have to do what we did with smoking and go, you can't smoke inside anymore. Well, you know what, you can't have your phones anymore. So please, Keir Starmer doesn't seem to think this is a problem. Every single parent I know across the country, and I'm from Bradford and I currently live just down the road, they're all talking about the same thing. We have to do this, and it's so easy, please.
It is something, Peter, I remember when you came on the programme, to begin with, this is talking a few years back now, you were saying you were kind of open-minded about whether or not smartphones should be banned for under-16s. But you've come to the view, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that actually there shouldn't be a ban on them, despite what Alex says.
No, 97% of schools currently do ban social media as well. So the issue isn't whether we just ban the other 3%.
But that's presumably in the classroom, not necessarily in the playground.
No, in the school, no. So they have to sort of take them, they have to put them in pouches and they have to remove. So most schools, I mean, the vast majority do. But I accept the challenge that we have. Already this year, we have forced social media companies and platforms to remove illegal content from their platforms. And we know that things like the horrific sites like suicide sites have now been removed from our country, and some of them have preemptively banned it and put statements out saying, see what happens if you put these laws in. Well, goodbye to them. They're now not available to young people. In July this year, platforms must make sure that all content delivered is age appropriate. So that will be a big step forward. Now, I'm looking very carefully about the next steps in this, because I've not been able to do anything because of the current law I inherited had to be implemented before I can come forward with my proposals. And I've been thinking very carefully, and the issues that Alex and yourself have talked about are front and centre. It is about children and the addictive nature of some of this, and my starting point is, what is a great childhood online? We talk about what a good childhood is offline, in families and communities. What does that mean in the 21st century, in the 2020s and 30s ahead for a young person? And that's what I'm looking very carefully at, and I can't wait to start talking in a bit more detail about it.
Peter, I'm sorry I can't give you longer, because I know this is obviously something, is close to your heart and is your brief. Sorry, you've got about 30 seconds.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm really glad you social shamed me, Richard. I am really concerned about social media and young people. I think they're really important. It sounds boring, technical questions about how we protect them, because, you know, there's a lot of talk about age verification, for example. It's quite difficult to do that in a way that is also conducive to privacy for all users. I'm sure there are ways that we can do it there, and I'm sure that that's what Peter's looking at. So, yes, I'm in favour of it. I think we just have to work out the technical details.
Yeah, look, Kemi, we are in favour of banning phones at schools for under 16s, as in particular, because we know how dangerous it is. The schools want it, the parents want it, lots of people are suggesting. Also, in terms of the age at which people go online to some of the social media platforms as well, we need to change that. Look, the reality is, though, whilst the platforms and the algorithms can be bad, it's human beings, it's people who behave terribly online, and we need to call them to account as well, because there is an element of personal responsibility here, parental responsibility, community responsibility. But at the end of the day, you know, you are right. We are responsible as governments, as legislators, to make sure we put legislation in place. And I do think things like looking at when we ban social media accounts, when we ban phones at schools, we've got to take that responsibility as well.
Richard Laker, you've got about 10 seconds. What do you think of what you've heard?
I think it is personal responsibility when phone addiction is a clinically diagnosed problem. It's the same with smoking. Like, we used to have the brightest minds in the world inventing, I don't know, new technologies, and now they are all plugged in Silicon Valley in trying to work out how to keep us on our phones for longer. Like, that is not, it's not just an issue for children. It's completely pervasive.
Right,
like,
as well.
Political division has completely gone out of control. Self-harm, all these issues. It's, the correlation is almost like linear.
OK, well, hey, we hear you, Richard. I'm sorry we couldn't spend longer on it. It's an excellent question. That's it from us. We have run out of time. In fact, we're slightly over time. So thank you very much to my panel. Thank you very much to the audience for coming here tonight. And, of course, thank you for watching from Question Time in Aldershot. Bye-bye.